Here's a highlight from a recent episode of Booked on Rock. Our guest is Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Dennis Dunaway, bassist for the legendary Alice Cooper group, who just recently released their first studio album together in over 50 years. I believe it's 52 years exactly. The Revenge of Alice Cooper. The showmanship, the shock value, and then you combine that with these songs that are just bona fide now classics, like I'm 18. That's a song, and you write about how that becomes the most requested song in the history of CKLW, which is in Windsor, Ontario. And that station helped to establish the band in the Detroit, Windsor market. It was released in, I think, on this month in 1970. And you say they played it every fifth song. It was the heaviest rotation outside of the Beatles. And it's a song that really stood out to Bob Ezrin when he saw you guys play live. He thought it was I'm Edgy.
Right.
But talk about how that song came together.
You know, I'm Edgy isn't bad.
It would have worked.
Yeah, it would have worked. But the reason it was I'm 18 is because this song came from a jam that Michael had, like the chords. And when we would do a sound check at a, tiny club or whatever, we would just jam on that. And then we would, each of us would come up to the microphone and do a funny verse. We'd just make stuff up, but it was just to warm up. And then at one point, the band was at Warner Brothers, and we were talking to one of the A&R guys, and we saw this chart on the wall. And we're saying, so wait a minute, what age is the biggest record buying age? And he said, hands down, 18 years old, because most of them are still living at home. They don't have to pay rent, and they've got money in their pockets. So we said, okay, well, we can relate to that because we all met when we were in high school. And so the idea of making it about an 18-year-old started coming together. So now when we would do a sound check, we would come up with lyrics that we thought would fit that concept. Now, of course, Alice polished it and really brought it home. And Rosalie Trombley worked at CKLW. They called her the girl with the golden ear. I think there was even songs written about her.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
Bob Seger, I believe, wrote it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Rosalie Trombley is the one that started playing it. Now, I hadn't seen her for years, decades after that, the whole thing happened, because CKLW was right across the river from Detroit. But since they were in Canada, they didn't have the restrictions on the power of their transmitter. So they could blast the entire Midwest of America and Canada, like Wolfman Jack did out of Mexico when he started. But so now, years later, I'm in a bar in a hotel late at night in Phoenix, Arizona. It was an event. The town of Phoenix was giving an award to Alice and his wife for community service. But now it's late at night and everything's closed and I'm hungry and I'm in the bar trying to figure out what I can get to eat. And this guy comes over and says, "Are you Dennis Dunaway?" And said, "Yeah." He said, "My mom is Rosalie Trombley." I said, "What?" And he said, "She's over here. She wants to know if you want to have a drink." Sure. So Rosalie has these giant martinis. So I have one of those. And I said, "Okay, I finally get to talk to you." And I said, "So how did this come about? What made you think that I'm 18 was a hit?" She said, "The lyrics." She said, "Before it even got to the chorus, I knew it was a hit." And then she said she started playing it, and about day 3, all of the other disc jockeys came into her booth while she was on the air and said, "Wait, we don't think you should be playing this because this band is the Chicken Killers and all of that." and she said the timing could not have been more perfect. Every phone was ringing off the hook with requests for I'm 18. And when they saw that, they said, "Oh, okay, go ahead and play it."